Andrey Rublev needs to speak to a sports psychologist ASAP, and if he's already seeing one, he needs to find another one because this is just sad. Hey, I'm Christian Bassnight and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and join Christian's crew to be notified whenever I post Wimbledon content throughout the fortnight. I'm literally on vacation in Disney right now, and I'm still making videos. If that's not dedication, I don't know what is. Anyways, getting into the action from today and day 2, both 6 seeds on the men's and women's side lost in the opening round at the 2024 Wimbledon Championships on Tuesday. First, defending ladies champion Marketa Vondrousova fell to world number 83, Jessica Bouzas Maniero 6-4, 6-2. This is the first time a defending Wimbledon women's winner has fallen in the opening round of SW19 since Steffi Graf lost to Lori McNeil 30 years ago. I had never heard of the 21-year-old Bouzas Maniero before this match, so I did not expect Marketa to lose it, but this also wasn't such a big shock that she fell this early in the tournament. Vondrousova was not 100% coming into this event, suffering a knee injury and then after falling in the Berlin round of 16 a week or so ago. It was clear that the injury hampered her quite a bit out there, and she just was not as mobile. It didn't show the same form at all that we saw from her 12 months ago. Now, Vondrousova, her loss brings up an interesting discussion about her as a player because it just shines a light on just how inconsistent she is. And a lot of people have said, rightfully so, that she really is not a consistent top 10 player or consistent champion. Vondrousova will now drop outside the top 15 due to her loss, and I honestly would not be surprised if she were to be unseeded for next year's Australian Open, but that honestly is when she tends to play her best tennis, when she is unseeded and flying under the radar. Remember, when she won Wimbledon last year, she was not seeded, and she also only has big results in the odd years. In 2019, she reached her first major final at Roland Garros, and then in 2021, she finished silver at the Tokyo Olympics, and then of course last year in 2023 she won Wimbledon, so I definitely think she'll be back for 2025. Now, of course, Andrey Rublev has the biggest casualty on the men's side, as the Russian lost to world number 122 Francisco Comesana with a score of 6-4, 5-7, 6-2, 7-6. This was much more of a shocker than Vondrousova's loss, in my opinion, as Comesana had never earned a tour level victory in his life prior to this match. But the 23-year-old Argentinian for sure played the match of his life, powering down 21 aces on court 2. Rublev losing his cool certainly didn't help his case either, as when Comesana broke to go up 4-1 in the 4th set, the hot-headed Russian smashed his racket against his knee 7 times in a row. He hit himself so hard that he drew blood on his knee. This is not new behavior for Rublev though, as he did the same thing during May's Roland Garros during his 3rd round defeat to Matteo Arnaldi. This is really, honestly, very concerning to keep seeing this behavior, this pattern of behavior from Rublev, because it happens time and time again. At every big tournament where he loses, he self-harms. He always hits himself in that knee doing that same JoJo Siwa-like move, and it's a little bit disturbing. Not a little bit, it's a lot disturbing. And I really do hope that like a strong governing body of tennis comes in and maybe someone intervenes from his team and gets him the help that he needs, because this is not like good. You know, obviously people have anger issues, and then of course another Russian, Mikhail Yuzny, he infamously hit himself so hard in the head with his racket that he drew blood. But I think after a while Yuzny started like calming down himself. I think that Rublev needs to have that come to Jesus moment where he's like, okay, I have to really cut this out. And I think dating back to this year's Dubai incident where he yelled at a lines person and people were defending him saying, oh, it wasn't that bad, like, no, clearly it is that bad with Rublev. And speaking of Dubai, ever since that incident happened, Rublev's game has kind of been on a downward like roller coaster in a bad way. Rublev, he did win the Madrid Masters 1000 back in April/May, but aside from winning Madrid, he has not reached the round of 16 in his other 8 tournaments played since the Dubai incident. Bottom line, I just hope that Andrey gets the help he needs, because these problems are clearly impacting his performance on the court. Rublev was not the only seed to fall in this little section, as 20th Sebastian Korda was sent packing by Francis Giovanni Mpetshi Perricard 7-6, 6-7, 7-6, 6-7, 6-3. This was an upset for sure, as Korda was touted by many to go deep in this slam, displaying some strong tennis during the grass swing. He made a final in Hertogenbosch, and he made the semifinals in Queens. But I actually expected Mpetshi Perricard to prevail and claim his first slam main draw victory, because even though he was a lucky loser, losing in the final round of qualies, he had no business even having to play qualifying, as he's ranked 58 in the world. The 6'8" Frenchman first got on my radar after he claimed his first ATP Tour level title in Lyon back in May as a wild card, like his friend Arthur Fils did too the year prior. I was wowed then by his booming serve and athleticism, and that's exactly what he showcased today against Korda. He hit down 51 aces, hit 93 winners, and then saved all 11 break points that he faced in this match. He's just so gutsy and fearless too, and he went for second serve aces on some of those break points. And when speaking with Tennis Channel, he said that, you know, he wants to go for it whenever his back is against the wall. And to me, that's the mark of a champion, not being afraid to still go for your shots whenever you face a pressure moment. I said it before and I'll say it again. Mpetshi Perricard is going to be a future star of the sport. So if you haven't paid attention to him, pay attention to him in this tournament. Now, Giovanni next faces Japan's Yoshihito Nishioka in the second round, and then if he reaches the third round, which I believe he will, he could meet 11 seed Stefanos Tsitsipas, which could be a big breakout moment for the Frenchman. So far, we haven't had any real notable upsets on the men's side. Hubert Hurkacz, Taylor Fritz, Ben Shelton, Alexander Zverev, Alex de Minaur, Holger Rune, and Lorenzo Musetti were among the top seeds to reach round 2. Novak Djokovic's 6-1, 6-2, 6-2 win over Vit Kopriva was probably the most impressive performance of the day. Of course, this is 7-time champion Novak, and I shouldn't be impressed by a first round route, but of course, he just recovered from that knee meniscus surgery literally less than a month ago, and he's coming out and just playing such tremendous tennis, and he looks like he didn't even have surgery the way he was sliding all around the court. And really, by how he played, I would not be surprised at all if he went all the way, which is just incredible that he was able to recover that fast and play that well. We have a few intriguing second round matchups too, as Hurkacz takes on Arthur Fils, and then Alexander Zverev gets American Marcos Giron, who has been solid lately on the grass. And then too, there's an all-Brit battle between 28th seed Jack Draper and then 2022 semifinalist Cam Norrie. Unfortunately, a pioneer in British men's tennis will not be playing in the singles this year, as Andy Murray withdrew ahead of his opening round match against Thomas Makach, as he was not able to recover in time from a recent back surgery. After retiring mid-match in Queens about 10 or so days ago, Murray got a spinal cyst removed from his back. In his final Wimbledon appearance, he says Andy will be playing doubles with his brother Jamie. It's for sure sad that Andy will not be able to kind of go out on his own terms this year on the singles court, because he's such a big champion, becoming the first British man I believe, to win Wimbledon in 77 years, but his legacy will always be remembered regardless of whether he was able to take the court. And I think his last ever singles match against Stefanos Tsitsipas last year, even though it was a loss, was a good way to go out. He fought so hard and fought so well. So really just a round of applause to you, Andy, and I hope that he's able to get a proper send-off in his doubles showing with his brother Jamie. A few matches were suspended due to darkness as we await the result of Felix Auger-Aliassime and Thanasi Kokkinakis' match. Felix is currently up 2-1 at 1-all in the fourth, but he really should have wrapped this up in straight sets as he held a match point in the third set. Mallorca champion and 24th seed Alejandro Tabilo is up a set against Dan Evans, while 26th seed Francisco Cerundolo is embroiled in a 5-set battle with Roman Sefulin when play got suspended. Talking now about the women's results, things were thankfully far more straightforward compared to day one. In the most highly anticipated match of the day on the women's side between Iga Swiatek and fellow slam champion Sofia Kenin, the Polish woman got through without too much fuss, taking it 6-3, 6-4. Kenin obviously did not play at the same level as she did last year against Coco Gauff when she knocked out the American then, but it wasn't really bad at all by any means. It just wasn't what many were expecting. I honestly kind of expected this form because, like I said in my preview, she only won one game against Victoria Golubic in a recent qualifying match, so I knew that Sofia wasn't coming into this tournament with the best form. I also expected Iga to not come out the gates playing tremendous tennis, with this being her very first match on grass this year, but I could for sure see her playing herself into form this tournament. tournament. The draw still does look tricky though for Iga. She next plays Petra Martic, who tugged at her bob a tad in their Wimby third round match last year. But more pressing for her, to me, is in that third round, where she could face either 27th-seeded Katerina Siniakova or Yulia Putintseva. Both of those women, I think, have the game to trip up the pole, especially on this surface. Now, Yulia got a solid straight sets win, knocking out the 2018 champion, Angelique Kerber. Iga's biggest threat here in this section is her pigeoner, Yelena Ostapenko, who looked scary good in her first round match win over Ayla Tomljanovic, beating the Aussie 6-1, 6-2. I expected Ayla to win that match too, because she was in better form as she'd reached the finals in Birmingham, and Ostapenko was 1-2 on the grass. But as we have witnessed throughout her entire career, the Latvian is very hot and cold, and right now she seems to be hot. Caroline Garcia is still alive in this section as well, so for sure it's just not an easy one at all for the Polish woman. Do y'all think Iga will make it out of this section and make it to the quarterfinals? Let me know in the comments. Initially, I said that she would not, but I still think it's a little bit early to tell. I'm still a little bit more leaning towards not, especially if Ostapenko does make it through to the second week. Elena Rybakina also has a packed section with her other three seeds, Leylah Fernandez, Anna Kalinskaya, and Ludmila Samsonova, all making it through to the second round. Fellow Slam champion Caroline Wozniacki will face Fernandez in that second round after clobbering my girl Alicia Parks 6-2, 6-love. Briefly talking about that match, it was just god awful from Parks, unfortunately. She too is so hot and cold, and she was on that 9-match win streak and qualified in this tournament, only dropping 9 games, but clearly she has cooled off. Now, an American qualifier who did win her first round match was 19-year-old Robin Montgomery, who beat fellow qualifier Olivia Gadecki 6-4, 6-4 to win her first ever Slam main draw match. I am so proud and happy for Robin, not only because she is another member of the DMV, although technically I'm not really DMV either because I'm from Virginia Beach, but DMV stands for DC, Maryland, and Virginia, so technically I am a part of DMV. But anyways, I am so happy and proud of her because too, she didn't have the same rise as Coco Gauff, who is near her age, a little bit older than her, but she's been chipping at it, been working hard, keeping her head down and grinding, and I've been noticing steady improvements. She's been checking milestone after milestone. Really, she made me really step up and take notice to her at the Madrid Open, where she got that great win over Katie Boulter and pushed Aryna Sabalenka, the then world number 2, to 3 sets. Up next for Robin is 2-time Wimbledon finalist Ons Jabeur, so that will definitely be a big moment for the DC native, and I'm going to be cheering her on every step of the way in that match. At the bottom part of this section is 5th seed Jessica Pegula, who looked scary good in her 6-2, 6-love rout over compatriot Ashlyn Kruger. Looking ahead to day 3's order of play, Daniil Medvedev opens things up on center court against France's Alexander Mueller, followed by Naomi Osaka, who will be looking for her first ever win on center court against 19th seed Emma Navarro, which is bound to be a good one. We'll then end with an Italian showdown between world number 1 Jannik Sinner and 2021 finalist Matteo Berrettini. On court 1, Coco Gauff and Carlos Alcaraz will be the heavy favorites in their match, while Emma Raducanu will face a tough task against veteran Elisa Mertens. My top outer court women's match to watch will definitely be between Bianca Andreescu and 26th seed Linda Noskova. If you don't remember, Noskova took down Swiatek at this year's Australian Open in the third round. On the men's side, there's a few, but I'm going to pick Zhizhen Zhang and then Jan-Lennard Struff out on court 15. By the way, Andreescu Noskova is going to be on court 18. Impromptu day 2 recap, and let me know in the comments what you thought about all the results, whether you believe that Rublev does need to seek out serious psychological help, or should this behavior somehow be excused. Also, let me know what you think about Iga section yet again, if you think it's really tough, too tough in fact for her to move through, or do you think that she'll bring her game together and make it past the 4th round and eventually go all the way. Once again, make sure y'all subscribe and click the notification bell so you all are notified whenever I post my Wimbledon updates, even in a Disney resort. Thank y'all so much for watching and for your support, and I'll see you next time here on Christian's Court.